I welcome you all. My name is Isi Igenegba, and I am basically a daughter of reawakening. I have gone through various seasons in my life where I have been redefined consistently by God. One of the things that we struggle with the most is seasons of redefinition, where God begins to tell you that the person you were was good for a season, and the person you're going to become is what you need to fulfill the destiny you are so hungry for. There was a time in my life where all I was a student. At another time in my life, I became a minister who was still a student. At another time in my life, I wasn't doing ministry as you know it. I was just a young girl who was married to this man and attending this church and volunteering in that church and doing my job at the office that I was in, and that was all I was. And after that season, God called me back to ministry, and everything had to change. And going back to working in ministry, I had to rewire my mind and tell myself that, Isi, you are not any less because what you're doing now is working in a church. This is part of God's plan for your life. I watched my friends go to their jobs in different industries, oil and gas, consulting, business, all of those things. And a huge part of me felt like I was missing out on life because I wasn't doing what I was trained in university to do. But at the same time, I couldn't shake off the fact that there was a conviction on the inside of me that I was called to be a minister of the gospel. And part of my call required that I got trained in the administration of ministry. I stayed in that place for a long time. And after a while, I became a resident pastor. And I changed again. And I had to go from being a young girl who was safe within the covers of administration to becoming a young woman who had to lead a group of people who were much older than her. And in that season, I had to be reawakened. And I realized that God doesn't need your permission to call you to a season of reawakening. God anoints you, God calls you, God delegates you because it is His will. And His will is the sovereign document by which all souls work on earth. I had to get used to the fact that just because I was a certain age, a certain class, didn't mean I did not qualify to carry the scepter of God. And that was a season of reawakening for me. I went past that season into having to leave that position. And I went through a time when I started asking myself again, who am I? Who am I called to do? I have all my life served under people. I have felt like I was coming into a season where God was asking me to lead. And I was going to follow Jesus this time, and I didn't have any pastor, any apostle, any prophet telling me this is the way to go or this is the vision to run. And I had to learn all these things, and I found out that the reawakening I was crying for was not as glorious as I thought. People see the glory, but I feel the pain of pushing through the darkness that brings light for others. And this was what my reawakening looked like when I started People of Influence Network. So I went through all of that to the person that I am now. Now I am a minister. I run my ministry with multiple expressions. I run our oil and gas business with my husband, our power business. I run my institute and a string of other initiatives that we run. And I do all of these things easily and seamlessly because by the grace of God, all the years of reawakening have made me go past being just a woman into becoming an institution, into becoming a system, into understanding that a person can actually in themselves be an entire structure of excellence and increase and multiplication. You just have to allow God teach you how to master your seasons of reawakening.